The 7 layers of networking according to the OSI model. One of you wrote in with a question about a question you were asked in a job interview for enterprise IT, and that was, what are the 7 layers in the OSI networking model? And be honest, I can name the 7 layers, but explaining what each one of them does, I would have to look up. And I don't really think that unless you're doing some pretty hardcore engineering stuff, that it really, hardcore network stuff. I don't even know when you need to know all 7 layers. The first layer is easy. That's the physical layer. This is whether you're running Ethernet or whether you're running, Cat 6 versus Cat 5 versus whatever. But it's also about whether you're running a twisted pair or whether you're running over a modem or whether you're running over an analog or whatever. It's the physical layer. It's how things are physically connected. The next layer is the data link layer. And the data link layer is what protocols that particular system uses. So, for example, you could have a physical layer that was 4 wires, and you could push analog signal over it like you would a modem, or you could push Ethernet across it, and that would be the data link layer, and you'd be determining whether you were using the protocols for an analog system or a digital system. Next is the network layer, and this is where you get into TCP/IP, IPX/SPX, NetBEUI, NetBIOS, or any of the other protocols that can be used across the different layers. Okay. We're on 4. Transport layer is really about what the data is doing and what the flow control looks like. So it's the part that says, hey, I missed that bit of information. How do I recover it so that the applications and the things that are running on it don't see that error? When you get a bad bit over your network or over your modem, the world doesn't end. Things just keep happening, and that's because of flow control and error correction, and that's part of layer 4, the transport layer. Layer 5 is the session layer. Session layer is really about the connection between 2 things. So I reach out and talk to you, you reach out to talk to me, we establish a session, and we have negotiated those roles. When you're talking about that in networking, some of that is about port forwarding and things like where different types of packets go to different things. When you're doing network address translation, you have to be session aware. You have to know that this packet was bound for this location and this packet was bound for this location, and that's the sessions part. Layer 6 is the presentation layer. And I don't really remember what happens at the presentation layer. Sorry, I'll look it up at some point if you really care. Application layer is layer 7, and application layer is basically where you get to the point that you are binding multiple sessions and multiple transports in order to do whatever you want. So, for example, let's say you're playing Modern Warfare 3, and you've got several things going on. You've got the voice chat going, and you've got the data going back and forth for the interaction of the players, where they are in the game, and then you've got the logging layer that sends all of your bits for the scoring, and that's the application layer. The user is only seeing that there is a network, and the program in the application is doing all of the things to determine which sessions, which protocols, and which are used over different places. So that's the 7 layers, and I apologize that I can't come up with off the top of my head what layer 6, layer 6, the presentation layer, does. If I had to guess, it was something with like how you name and address the items, like DNS happens at the presentation layer, but I'm stretching, sorry. As an interview question, most of the time, the only people who are going to need to know those things are either at the architect level. Yeah, pretty much at the architect level. Because if you're an IT admin, you're not going to go past layer 5, maybe layer 4. And if you're a developer, you're probably only going to be at the upper levels, 7, 6, and 5. You're not going to have to talk to the lower levels. It's only when you start doing some of that architecting that you've got to bridge across all of the things. And like I said, you know, after you do enough of it, you stop worrying about what layer things are at, and you just start thinking about how the network works. So yeah, I don't know why it would be part of an interview. Sorry. And yeah, I'm sorry you didn't get the job about not knowing it, and I wished I had thought to put this into my IT enterprise job interview questions. I would never ask it.